Welcome to Tell the Damn Story, the show that explores the many ways to navigate the successes and failures that aspiring and struggling writers face to make your journey that much easier.
Chris?
Hi, Alex.
Hey, Chris, you don't look too chipper. You don't look too too thrilled about where we are.
Alex. It's 2026, Alex.
Yeah?
Where's my flying car? Huh? Where's all this future stuff we've been looking for since we were kids?
Yeah, the jetpack, the folding car
I don't
into
got a
the
jetpack.
suitcase.
I don't got repulsor rays. I don't got a flying car.
We don't have a transporter.
We don't.
No.
I
and
know we
put in
do have
order
the
for
Alex
one.
Simmons time machine, but damn.
I know.
You know,
I know.
listen, let's just tell the damn story.
You know what? That's the bottom line. That's all we got. That's all we got every week.
That's all we got, ladies and gentlemen.
For 390
Alex,
some odd weeks.
Me, you, that's all we got. We only got stories to tell. And it's 2026. It's a new year for telling stories. I tell you what, 2025, as weird as it was, Alex, as crazy as that year was, it went out with a storytelling bang. We can't spend time on it because that's not what we do here, but Stranger Things, perfectly imperfect story. I wrote about it on my Substack. The ending was just satisfying in a dozen and a half ways, and it talked a lot about storytelling and believing in storytelling. And you know what? Despite the lack of flying cars, despite the lack of jetpacks, I still believe in story, Alex.
And no transporters. Yeah, I do too. As a matter of fact, folks, what Chris and I are going to talk about is, 2025 is over. What did we do with it? How did we approach it? How do we feel about it now that that's gone? Because here is 2026, a new clean road ahead. And if you stick around till the end, what's going to happen, Chris?
You're going to feel way better about your 2026 than you may have when you first saw me with the hood on and the depression, because you might have said, you know what? Chris is right. Where the hell is my flying car?
Yeah.
But it's not about flying cars. If you want to watch flying cars, you got to go to the Flying Car podcast. This is Tell the Damn Story. Yes. And we're going to talk to you about a few good ways to launch your 2026 a la storytelling.
Yes,
right,
absolutely. Alex? Absolutely. You know what we should start with? Let's start with what many people do at the end of a given year, as old acquaintances are trying to be forgotten. What are a bunch of people sitting around doing?
Every year, Alex, every year. You hear it on every news story and all over the line, online and all that. New Year's resolutions.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Alex, I'm here to tell you, New Year's resolutions are a bucket of bullshit.
Ooh.
2026, we're in the future. We can say bullshit.
Did you say that out loud?
Ladies and gents? Telling you. You know why? Because we all make these big, lofty resolutions.
Well, now you're right.
I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to write the Great American novel. I'm going to build a flying car.
Yeah.
It's too much, too big. We promise the moon, and we wind up just tying our shoes.
Yeah. Okay. So for writers,
true, right?
For writers,
we are here to tell you, tie your shoes.
Yes, start with tying. Put them on first, as a matter of fact, because it's easy to tie them after they're on.
That's really all you have to do, right? Now, there's something to be said for looking back, reassessing the year, right? And the year that just passed, and saying, well, in this case, everyone can do it a million different ways. You can do it about your finances. You can do it about your love life. You can do it about eating habits. You can, but this is Tell the Damn Story. All right? This is not Tell the Damn Romance. This is not tell a damn economics. This is tell a damn story. So what we would suggest is that you do. There's two things you got to do. If you're going to look back, Alex, you have to do something before you can look back. Nope, you just did it. You just went and looked back. You reckless Alex Simmons, reckless animal. Look at him. Looking back left and right. Here's what you got to do.
Okay, what is that? Tell me, Chief.
Yeah, cut yourself a break.
Wow.
You got to be kind to yourself.
That's
right?
drastic. That's drastic.
Right? Because if you go and you say, all right, how did I suck last year? Then what you're going to find is all the ways you sucked.
That's right.
Right?
Yep. And it's for most people, it's easier to look back or even look on how you failed, how you dropped the ball, how you sucked. We hold on to negatives much quicker and easier than we do the positives.
And I would tell you, Alex, that's what leads to those big, I'm going to get the moon, I'm going to create a flying car type of resolutions. I'm going to lose 340 pounds.
You only weigh 200 to start.
220. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right? Well, this is not the federal government here. We're talking about in real life. Yeah. Just look back, and this is how you do it. We're going to use 2025 because it's the most recent, right? What did I do? Writing-wise, what did I do? Not what did I do well, how much money I made. What did I do? What did I really accomplish? And you got to be careful of that because, again, you have to watch that editor on your shoulder, that negative voice. I didn't do nothing. I didn't win any awards. I didn't get a contract. Why would you beat yourself up? You cannot turn the calendar back. So we're just looking at it as a measuring stick. Right, Alex?
Yeah, well, measuring stick, yeah.
Okay, so what did I do?
Data, yeah.
Did you publish anything? Make a list of it. Right? Break it down by genre if you did that much. If it was Teal James Glenn, he'd need a whole notebook because, God bless that guy.
Bounces.
Right?
Yeah.
Some people published a few things or got a few things published. I saw a publisher just do this assessment. They put out 9 things last year. And they were saying, that's what we did.
Yeah.
And we're satisfied with those 9 things because we like all 9 of them.
I would even say
they didn't say they were great. They didn't say they broke money. They liked them.
I would go even further and say that, because you can start with publishing if that's where you are. But the other thing is you set up a nice thought, Chris, when you said people tend to set these grandiose expectations. When you're starting out, when you're an emerging or aspiring writer, which many of our audience members are, yes, some of us are struggling professionals, but the bottom line is when you're starting out, you determine, I'm going to write a novel. I'm going to write an 80,000 word novel. And you've never written a novel before.
Yeah.
You've already pulled on more weight, put more weight on your shoulders than need to. If you succeed in writing a page, if you succeeded in writing flash fiction, if you succeeded in writing a poem, if you succeeded in writing a dialogue scene or a character breakdown, these are things that this is what Chris is talking about, taking note of what you accomplished. If you set out to write, if you set out to write a short story last year and you worked on it, that's an accomplishment. Mm-hmm. These are the things, so that you're not constantly looking, and this is again what Chris is talking about, you're not constantly looking at yourself through the negative lens. You're looking at yourself and you are assessing your progress, whatever Alex, that progress is.
I agree with you 100%. Let's do something positive. Let's take a negative example and turn it around.
Go for it.
Let's say, for example, somebody said, I wanted to write all this stuff. I made this resolution in 2025. I was going to write 7 stories. I got 3 and I didn't finish any of them. That's the negative way of looking at it.
Yep.
The positive way is, okay, I had said 7. I didn't make 7. Okay. I'm not going to promise 7 this year. Let's see what happened with those 3. And then go and look back at those 3.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
these were pretty cool, but I had this problem here, and then I didn't know how to work this this twist at the end. It didn't work. And then But this third
having
one,
problem with dialogue, or the characters
whatever it
didn't
is,
feel
right?
authentic.
So, okay. Now you go on, look at those three. I like these two. They still seem like there's some life in them. Okay. Take the third one and set it aside. Relieve yourself from having to finish it. Give yourself permission. If I feel like picking it up later, that's extra. But I like these two. Okay. Figure out what you're going to do. I like this one seems furthest along. Okay. Let's start with that one. And then read it out loud like you're getting paid $10,000 and have a little notebook or a little index card to the side and write some notes. Page 2 doesn't work. Page 3, that's really a great start. Whenever, I wrote a poem last week for Alien Buddha Press, and I put it in my writers group. And Chuck, who was on the show 2025, he said, your second verse is a better first verse than your first verse.
Second verse is better than the first. Okay.
Yeah. And you got to listen to that stuff, and Laura was in the same group, and she said, yeah, that first one, something's not working on it. So I said, well, I'm going to try. I'll listen to the feedback and I'm going to try. I wound up taking out 4 verses, and what was left ran much better. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how you move forward.
Because you did not
beat yourself
stop
up.
you did not stop with, oh, it doesn't work. Damn, I must suck. I must this. Forget it.
They hate the first verse.
Right.
I suck. This is terrible.
No,
it
is a good verse, and it's perfect, and you just don't understand. No, writing is a process. Writing is a creative process. You start with something and you nurture and build on that. Right. That's the experience.
And there is that tendency in every writer I ever met to go for the negative. Oh my God, a can of beans can write better than me. No,
even if I don't open it. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, just assess what's there. We talked about 3 of the stories. We're going to work on 2. Let's make that goal that we're going to finish at least one of them this year.
Yeah.
That's small. What do we talk about? Small hurdles, small challenges, as opposed to I'm going to create the 80,000 best American novel ever. Right? I'm going to just finish this story. I'm going to see what it's like, and da 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 da.
And again, hitting on this again, because we're going to move along further, folks. But just to sort of really get this across, when you make a commitment to write, purely to write, that's the first stage. That means you pick up a pen or you put your fingers to the keyboard and you write. You lay words down. If you make a commitment to write something specific, okay, can you follow through with that? If you can't, great. We're not saying that whatever you write is going to be perfect. It's going to be ready for publication the moment you put the words down on the page. No, you have made a commitment to write. You wrote. Check that off. That's a win. And again, one last example is a couple of years ago, back during the pandemic, one of the things that got me through it was I made a commitment to write 1 short story every month. And I did. 12 months, 12 short stories. Not I was going to write and publish, not that I was going to write, edit them, and run them by people. No, I was just every month going to write a short story. And I did. And some of it is a messy mess. I haven't gotten back to it yet. I started on 2 and I stopped after editing it. But the bottom line is the commitment I made was to write a short story. That's it. And you're allowed to do that.
Yeah. And let's talk about people who may be a little more advanced, right? Say they were writing 2 pages a day. The mistake is to say, well, this year, 10 pages a day. Whoa, Caesar. If you are averaging and succeeding at 2 pages a day, push it up to 2.5. And just know in your heart, if you get to that 2.5 and you're in the middle of a scene, you're going to keep going. And fantastic. If that's what's happening and you're succeeding your daily goal or exceeding your daily goal, that's a good thing.
That's right.
But to get a daily goal that's going to be hard to hit every day, you're just creating a negative experience for that whole year.
And you're giving yourself absolute justification to suddenly beat yourself down.
Sure.
Because immediately, the moment you don't hit it, you go, oh, then I must not be, blah, 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 blah. You know, what Seinfeld's rule, as it's been told to me, Jerry hasn't personally told me this, but I've heard this, that, you know, he wrote comedy every day. If you miss a day, okay, don't miss 2 days, right? Because then it compounds in the negative. You missed a day, okay, fine. Next day, I'm writing again, and that's it. So all of this was around our thing of saying, starting out, resolutions, maybe they serve some people, but they don't serve everybody. More people than not are not served by resolutions. So
Right.
be realistic. Be
If we could
realistic
revisit
about
the
it.
Seinfeld thing for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
The other thing, if you miss a day, don't miss 2 days, right?
Yeah,
But
right.
I think the other mistake is to say, well, I'm going to write 2 days worth of stuff to make up for it. One, it allows you to create
More
excuses
pressure.
for yourself. I'll
Yeah,
just do 2 days. I'll just do 3 days. Don't do that to yourself
yeah, yeah,
because it's creating the lava pit
yeah.
or alligator pit. You know that you're gonna
Quicksand. Yes.
there it is, right?
Yeah.
So I missed the day tomorrow. I'm definitely doing it. There you go.
So you're making small, sustainable adjustments. Like Chris is saying, if you were doing two, do 2.5. If you
Right.
do better than 2.5, great, fine. But the adjustment you've made is, I'm going to have an extra half on there, an extra half page there, and let's see
Right.
what happens. And boom, you move forward with that. I
And
think,
and that's the thing. That's the thing we're trying to get for 2026. Keep going. Hashtag keep going or hashtag move forward. Right. So you want to just get something that you know you can do and
right.
try and do that and push a little extra. That's fine.
I'm gonna throw another potential possibility out there. All right. Some people, maybe they're sitting there and they're listening to Chris and I and they're going, damn, these guys are smart. And well, you should be saying
Aha, we have
that.
you fooled.
Yes. But the other end of that is, you know what we're also saying? It's not just, okay, going forward, anything new that you take on, here's how you can handle it. You are thoroughly allowed, completely allowed to turn around and go, there was this story that I started a year ago or 6 months ago. And I didn't do what I thought I was going to do. And so I quit on it. Maybe I should look at it again.
Go
Maybe,
ahead.
yeah, maybe I should just pull it out and read it. Like Chris said, like, I'm getting paid $10,000, to read it. But look at it again and assess where it is, what it is, why it is. And yeah, you can begin to work on it again. We don't feel that an idea that we nurtured for a bit and then left by the roadside is totally abandoned. It's always there for you to go back to it. And
Yeah.
sometimes you need more experience, more time, more consideration, more sense of giving yourself permission to look at your work after 2, 3 weeks, after a month and a half, after even a year, and go, wait a minute, let me see if I can figure out why this didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that going into 2026, it's giving ourselves permission to breathe as
Right.
creatives, to honestly breathe. Yes, you may have deadlines, or yes, you may have great expectations, all that, but in reality, creativity, writing, painting, creating choreography, photography, filmmaking, anything that's creative where you're bringing into existence something from nothing requires a certain amount of patience and grace for the
Right.
creative. We've got to give ourselves permission to go through the process.
Right. And you want to go through the process with the eyes open,
Yeah,
which means, okay, when you're at the keyboard and you're writing on that story and all that sort of stuff. But, when you're finished for the day and you're doing the dishes or walking the dog or whatever, story's still in your head
yeah.
and you can think about it and be curious.
And do what Chris does. I have scratch pages and I put notes and things on. Chris is a card man. He's an index card man. So the great Crispin here. The bottom line here is have something near you at all times, whether it's your phone, a notepad on your phone, whatever, where you can jot down your thoughts.
Yep.
right? Sometimes a bit of dialogue or character development or a plot idea comes to you, and if you got no way of locking it in, guaranteed an hour or so of life later, you may not remember it. Or you can't
Right.
remember it the way it came to you. The inspiration in and of itself is gone. So
And
keep it,
if you just write a few words of notes,
yeah,
that'll be enough to remind you, you know,
absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
so and so needs to pick up that hammer on page, in
Hmm.
chapter 12. Just that's it. And then,
Yep.
okay, that'll be oh yeah, I needed to do that. Yeah, yeah.
Or
The other
wait a minute,
thing,
when she was 10 years old, she had that accident and that stuck with that. Oh, so that's why she feels such and such
yeah,
about. Yeah.
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 The other thing to do, and as far as putting something aside for a while and picking it up later, we saw Teal talk about it at the panel discussion we had in December,
Yeah. Which I hope you
where
guys listen to.
he could still go. That's one of the great things about the social media. You can go back and watch it now if you want.
Episode
Um,
395, part 1 and 2.
but he had an idea. He heard the Mama's got run over by a reindeer, and he's like, "This is a ridiculous story. This is a ridiculous song. I'm gonna have to write a story about this." He's like, "Well, clearly it could be a crime story because Grandma got ran over by a reindeer," and he couldn't make it work, right? And he put it to the side. And years later, he was flicking around TV or wherever he was flicking around and saw a dragnet. He said, "Oh yeah, that's the bottle I can put it in,
The police
make it
procedural. Yeah. Yeah.
that kind of investigation." But he
Yeah.
still didn't have the whole story. And when he thought of that about that main character, Christmas, I forgot what his first name was, and then Krampus as his detective partner,
Yeah.
then he pulled it all back and wrote the story. That happens. And if it happens, that's fine. Don't worry about it. That is part of the process.
I
The
will
other thing,
mention.
go ahead.
No, no, go ahead, Chris. Finish that. And then
No,
I'll.
I'm going to change topics. So go
Oh, okay.
ahead.
So then I'll just quickly say that again, the slow, cautious, or timid exploration of being a creative. I just saw a movie just a few nights ago called "Is This Thing On?" It's a new film written by Will Arnett
Sure.
and Bradley Cooper. They wrote
Okay.
it. Cooper produced it. Will Arnett is the lead male star in the film, and basically, just very quickly, he's married, wife, 2 kids, 2 boys. I believe they're like 9 years old, 8, 9 years old, and house in the suburbs and everything. But the marriage is falling apart. This is the very beginning of the film. The marriage is falling apart, and they're going to separate. And he's got a good job and all that, but he doesn't know how to handle this. He feels torn apart from his family. He doesn't know how to deal with what's next and all of that. He still loves his wife, but and he's in the West Village, and this is so cool. He's in the West Village just because he's got an apartment there now. He's going to have to live in, and he goes past the olive tree, and the space below the olive tree is the comedy cellar, where
I know
people
it
can do
well.
stand-up comedies, some pros and some newbies. And
I've performed there.
yeah, so he wants to go in to have a drink, and the guy says, no, it's a cover charge of $15. He says, just for a drink? He says, yeah. And then the girl walks in right away. He says, well, how come she didn't pay? He says, because she signed up to do stand up for 3 minutes on the stage. So he signs in to do stand up, and he
Just to
goes
save the
in.
15 bucks.
Yeah, so he gets his drink, and he's on the list, and they call him, and he goes downstairs, and he has no idea what he's going to say or what he's never done stand up before in his life. He's never even thought about performing. And he gets on the stage and he begins to talk about what's happening in his life. And he's finding the phrases and things very delicately, very timidly, but every now and then he says something and there's a snicker or a chuckle. And that's the beginning. That's the thumbnail sketching. That's the making notes about, that was his starting point. And that's the very beginning of the film. So there's a much bigger story there. So I'm not ruining any of the story.
But the idea is to give it a shot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the same thing we do with writing. We give it a
Exactly.
shot. And
Exactly.
then the only other secret to being creative is to keep going. That's
And
one of the things we're going to be exploring all January about keeping going and letting something build and that kind of thing. The other
exactly.
thing, the other part to that is to continually be curious. last year, pretty late last year, but we had the Freda couple on,
Yeah,
John and Laura
John and Laura.
Freda.
Yeah.
Yeah. And John, offhand, almost as a side comment, mentioned a book that really helped him get his storytelling organized and smoother, and it wound up speeding him up. Well, I bought that book.
Take Off Your Pants.
Take Off Your Pants. Oh, we just lost our G rating. It's about, the pantsers. She says, take off your pants. She says, outline your books for faster and better writing. And I was like, okay, fine. I outline my books anyway. I don't know how much, but maybe I'll learn something in here, right? What I learned, there's no clue of it on the cover. There was just one section about give your character a flaw. And I knew that before, but the way she dove into it, it started working on my head. And I started applying it, like I said, put stuff in your head, walk around, take it with you because it's in your head.
That's right. Percolating, simmering.
It started applying itself to my work in progress. And I knew that I had expressed the flaw in maybe a half a sentence. Well, now I started chewing on that and wound up writing on the phone, the little pad, writing and rewriting. I think it was 2 sentences, 3 sentences from her point of view, from her narrative point of view.
From the character's narrative.
Yeah, from her. And she was mad at herself that she had done this for all this time. But I stuck that in. I think it's in page 1. So then I started reading through. This is one of the reasons that I was so diligent with looking at your email today, because I was happily going through the entire book because I was finding that fit. And then they were finding places that already resonated or half resonated where I could add, maybe just fill out that sentence a little more and maybe add a small sentence after it. And it was establishing her habit. She was going back to her flaw and then she'd catch herself. Geez. And yes, the work is a little more alive. And that I was able to do that because I was listening with an open mind when John Freda just casually mentioned it, and I was curious enough to check it out. So be curious, be open-minded, and understand that everything in your experience is material.
Yeah.
And you don't use it all, but if you let it and you keep it up, you might find, like Teal did, oh, this works with this and this. Now I have it. It's part of the process. And if you notice, none of it is predetermined or a resolution other than keeping open to possibilities, right? So it's another nugget for you to take into 2026, ladies.
Actually, we've given them 3. We've asked people to be curious, obviously, is what you just said. We've also said to be forgiving.
Obviously,
right?
Yep.
Be forgiving and to be patient.
Yeah.
You are allowed.
Go ahead, you're right.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, then the other thing is to assess what you did, and then you want to keep that going and expand on it a little bit.
See, that's exactly what I was going to say. So that's cool.
That's the next thing you're going to say?
That was the next thing I was going to say.
We, ladies and gentlemen, have been married for too long.
Yeah, we're not dressing the same, but we are coloring the same.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming, yeah. I just wanted to say also that 396 episodes now is where we are with this. And we are leaping into 2026 with the expectation of 12 more.
Passing 400.
Yeah, right. We're going for 400, right? We're very close to 400. And then, as they said in Toy Story, to 400 and beyond, or something like that, because we have some plans for some other episodes going forward. So we have already sat down and said, what do we want to do with 2026? And in our meeting, talking about as creatives, but also as producers of this show that are trying to share our experiences with you, we also looked at the bigger and more ambitious things and then went, okay, let's get real, pulled back on, pared things down, looked at organizing, pacing, and all that, and came up with a rough draft of what we feel we can accomplish for the next few weeks. We've also given a little bit view beyond that, but we are testing the waters. We are being curious with what are the possibilities. We are being patient in terms of putting together our schedule and our programming for you guys for the next 3 months at least. And we've forgiven ourselves for some of the things, some of our faux pas and flaws, but we also know that we can get better at some of those things and we'll live with the others.
Well, you just, there's that great story about Noah building the ark, right? He didn't do it over a weekend. There's a comedian who must not be named.
Yeah, I was just thinking of him. Yeah.
When I was a kid, he did a couple of different sketches or stand-up bits where Noah was building the ark in his driveway.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to get that thing out my driveway? Yeah.
And then at a certain point, the neighbors were making fun of him, calling him Tarzan and stuff. And he was going to quit. And then the raindrop hit him in the head. And he was like, oh, me and you, God, we got this.
I love it. There's no good old Noah under the elephant, the pregnant elephant, right? Yeah. Great material.
It's sad what happened, but we're going to leave that alone. But the point is that nothing's built in a day. And neither will your writing be. And neither will be, whether you're doing this for publication, for an astounding multi-million-dollar career, or for a hobby, or because you feel a story and want to get it out, none of it's going to happen in one sitting. Everybody puts butt in chair and write, or stands, whatever and you got to put in the time.
Yeah.
So make it an amount of time that you can deal with and that you can feel good about. And you don't have to tell anybody.
Right.
You can if you want. You can get a writer's group if you want. But all it's really about is if you have it in here and you feel you need to tell your own damn story, tell your own damn story. What happens next? That's for another set of episodes.
Yes. That's for further down the line. Yeah, that's for
right. What we're starting with in 2026 is just, if you feel it, if you're called to it, go ahead and do it, but do it at a level that makes sense to you, and be kind to yourself.
That's right.
Even if you write something you think it sucks, remember that that's an opportunity. You can say, oh, that sucks. Only if the next question is, where? Where does it suck? Right? Because if you look at where it sucks, then you can make it suck less.
Yes.
And that's really the golden secret of writing or any other creative thing. Just keep moving it along in its life. If you think of a baby, this is going to be a hot take, Alex. We're going to get cards.
You can use my baby analogy. Go ahead.
No, it's going to be a whole different analogy. But ladies and gents, it's going to sound a lot like me. But if you don't like what I'm about to say, remember that Alex Simmons said it, and write your letters to Alex Simmons. So here it is. If you think about a baby all by itself, that baby sucks. That baby can't get a job, can't feed itself, can't get its baba, can't change its diaper, can't wipe its butt. That baby sucks. Unless you give it some love. And then you want to do all that stuff for a baby. And that baby doesn't suck anymore. That baby is one of the most precious things in the world. And that can be your story or your poem or your song. Just give it love. That's all. That's what you need. This is where Alex jumps in with
John Lennon song too there. Yeah. No, my baby analogy, well, I've said 1,000 times. Yours is fine for this one. This is great. Okay. So next week.
Yes.
Next week, we are going to talk to you about, well, we're going to, we've talked about how to build and how to look at and be forgiving and graceful and patient and all that things. We're going to talk to you about a project that went through all of the stages that we've discussed and somehow persevered, even though there were some key moments when the things that happened and certain things that were said could have easily destroyed it forever.
Yeah.
So be with us next week.
It ain't the years, honey. It's the mileage.
Be with us next week and see how they worked it through, because it's a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and telling your own damn story.
There you go.
Okay.
Applicable to you. We'll see you next week. We'll talk all about it. Happy New Year. Be kind to yourself. Keep writing. Keep creating.
Take care, Chris.
Peace, Alex. Happy New Year, dude.